Hey folks, welcome back. Today marks the 25th anniversary of the founding of the Democratic Alliance, a political party in South Africa. Congratulations to the DA on your 25th anniversary. The leader of the party, John Steenhuisen, said the party has been important to South Africa, and I'd agree with him. It has played a major role in South Africa over much of the past 25 years and made major contributions to the political scene. That said, a lot of people are disappointed in the current state of the Democratic Alliance in South Africa. You don't have to take my word for it. Talk to South Africans. The Democratic Alliance failed to achieve any significant increase in its voting position in the 2024 national elections. In fact, they claim that they did better than anyone else, which is utter nonsense. They barely moved the needle. And in fact, when you take actual voters, they've dropped from 4,004,000 in 2014 all the way down now to 3.5 million. So over 500,000 voters have abandoned the Democratic Alliance or simply stopped voting. I don't know where they went. So it's much less popular than it was back then. The reason their proportion of the vote percentage went up slightly is because so many fewer voters actually voted in this election. In 2024, people just stayed home. ANC was obliterated, dropping down to 40%, and the DA nudged up slightly. But as I said, there are 500,000 voters fewer than there were just a few years back when Helen Zille led this party to its zenith in 2014. But the Democratic Alliance has a lot to be happy and proud of. They have achieved an awful lot as a bulwark against the African National Congress's capricious rule in South Africa. But in 2024, because they failed to move the needle, they wound up joining South Africa's coalition government, forming a coalition with the African National Congress, which the ANC then turned into this government of national unity behind the DA's back. The DA appears to be rudderless, powerless, and ineffectual in the government of national unity. No single piece of legislation that they opposed has actually been stopped since they've been part of this GNU. To be fair, many pieces of legislation were passed in the previous parliament, but the reality is that they have zero influence with President Ramaphosa, as you can see in the fact that they were unable to stop the expropriation without compensation being signed, the Basic Education Laws Amendment Act from being signed, the ludicrous 3% black tax from coming into existence, national health insurance from coming into existence. And so the Democratic Alliance has tarnished its reputation. They didn't stand up and speak out publicly on these issues, but they are speaking out publicly on some other issues that matter now, things like the labor laws that force companies to not be allowed to hire more than 4% of their managers as white South Africans. This racist legislation must be opposed, and the DA is actually standing up for that. That's good to see, but the reality here is they celebrate their 25th anniversary. While they may be proud of themselves and they're busy handing out blankets to cold South Africans to celebrate their anniversary, political parties don't exist to hand out things. That's not their role, to give gimmies and freebies. Your job is to develop leaders to lead the nation, to develop the right policies to progress or advance the interest of your citizens. That's the role of a political party, not to hand out blankets or, as the EFF likes to do, the ANC KFC three-piece streetwise and t-shirts. That's not your role. Your role is to develop leaders and come up with the best policy in the interest of your citizens. And right now, that's not what's coming out of the government of national unity. Expropriation is unconstitutional without compensation, and it's the law of the land now. National health insurance is unworkable. It's communist. It will lead to the economic collapse of South Africa. The Basic Education Laws Amendment Act is also unconstitutional and immoral. And 3% black tax is also unconstitutional. None of those bills, none of those laws are being fought by the Democratic Alliance, which spent years in opposition. Now it's in government. And what is it achieving for South Africans? Let's see. They seem to think that the sky is high, the sky's the limit for them in 2029. I think internally, I suspect they probably think they're going to get 30% of the vote. I would say at the current stage of things, the DA is much more likely to get 20 or 18% of the vote than they are to get 30%, which means they'll never rule the country, they'll never be a significant actor, just a hanger-on for the major opposition party. And that's sad for South Africans who need a true alternative. Action SA is not a true alternative. The Patriotic Alliance is not a true alternative. None of these smaller parties are true alternatives. You're stuck with ANC rule. Anyway, happy birthday to the Democratic Alliance on their 25th birthday. I wish them well. For so many years, they seem to be the only option. But lately, they seem to be one of the biggest disappointments in South Africa. What say you, South Africa? What say you, world? Cheers.